Hey, what's up guys? I'm Nicu, your lovely host, and today we are going to create something I actually love. I love when developers and designers put, like small details and like do everything to be perfect. And in today's example, we have something like this. We're going to create, I found an awesome page from We Are Digital Freelancers, and especially the work page. And what I love here is this stacked 3D effect of images, but especially if you can see each time the image gets revealed, it will get a different rotation angle, and this is like what I really love. And what we're gonna do is something similar. We'll have a list of titles, and we have the images stacked on, to the back of the titles, and then when hovering each title we have the image like coming in front and having a slight rotation. And as you can see, we also have this like different rotation angle each time we hover on a corresponding title. We got the data here. We have again an array of objects, and each object will take the URL and the title. So what we're gonna do is come here in the main component, which is our home, and we have the imported page data, and let's create two containers. So one will be a div with class name a title container, and another one we're gonna call it a div, and the class name to be image container. And now we will take the page data, and then we will map through it, and we will return, for example, a component, and the component will create one component here called title.jsx, and one will need it later for image.jsx. And then let's quick create the React functions for them. So here in the loop we'll take the title, let's import it, and we'll pass a couple of things. We'll pass the title here, that's object, we'll get the title, and we'll need the index as well. So the title will get the key to be index format, the title to be title. The index, we said we'll need the index to be passed, and then we'll need to pass two functions for hovering and rotation, but this will be a little bit later. We'll have to iterate through this array again here for images. So here, instead of the title, we'll return image, and we will pass instead of title, set the URL here, and URL as well here. And we'll need to pass a few more props, which will be a boolean for active, and a rotation position. So the active will tell us which one to be in front, and the rotation position will take care of the angle of the image. So as well, we'll pass here. Let's go into the components and create them. So here we'll get the class name to be a title item, and inside here we'll have just an h1, and we'll pass the title. So here as a props, we'll take the title, the index, and we'll also need two functions for set rotation and set index. So here, when we mouse enter the text, we'll have to tell the state that's gonna be in our home GSX component to set the rotation. So set rotation, and we'll pass the current index. And when we mouse leave, we want to set some kind of default index. So set index, and we will pass some -1 since -1 doesn't belong to an array. Yeah, and that's why we chose to have this one. Let's go and set up the image. And here we'll have to take the URL, the active, and the rotation prop position, sorry. And here we'll import our npm package called class names, import cn from class names. And we'll pass the class name to the component, which will be a cn and active, yeah? So we need to have this active class when the active boolean is true. Instead of the div, we'll have here as an image. Let's change it here really quick as well. And here we'll have pass few more things to the arguments. The source, of course, for the URL, and we'll also need to pass the style. So we'll have to update the rotation and the scale of the image. So we'll give it as an object, and we'll work with the transform now because it's more performant and it runs on the GPU. So when this when it's active, so when we want to be on the front, we will do something, and when it's not, we will do something else. So when we want it to be visible, we would want it to have a slight scale, to have a bigger size, yeah. And then we'd want to rotate it under some angle. So rotate, and here we have the rotation position, degrees. And when the element is not active, we want it to have just the rotation. So rotation position dot degrees. Let's save, and this is all for these components. Let's go back to the home component here. Let's see, yeah. Work a little bit with the states. So we would need two states. One is to have all the rotations for all of the elements. So we'll need an array of rotation, and the length of the array will be the length of how many items we have in our array. So const rotation position is, and we need the function to set. So rotation is use state, and we will create an array of the page data dot length, and we will fill them with 0. So we want a 0 rotation initially when we load the page. And for the second state, we have a boolean, an index, not actually a boolean, but the current index that it's active. So active index, set active index, yeah, use state, and as I said, the -1 because the array starts from 0, so a -1 would be a default value when nothing's gonna be selected. Let's see where we set, where we use these values. So here in the, when we pass to the image container, we'll pass the active as active index is equal to the current index. And for the rotation position, we'll take the rotation position and we'll take the element inside that array. And here we'll also have to pass a function. Let's go and check. Yeah, we have the set rotation and set index. And for the set rotation, we'll set the set rotation. And for the set index, we have the set active index. Now what I have to do is let's first see. We have here some errors. Image is not defined, so we know that it's here. Image didn't import it. Yeah. Let's see if we don't have any errors. Yeah. We got the titles and then we got the images. We go later with the styling. We'll need to create a function, so handle set rotation, which will take an index, so item index. It's gonna be an arrow function as well, and we'll set actually here. We'll pass it to the title, and what we're gonna do here is quite simple. As you remember, we have here different rotations of the current image every time you hover. And if I looked here and when inspecting, let me see which image container, right? And you can look at the degree, yeah? So we see that there is a limit to how much it can go on the left and how much it can go on the right. So I see here something between, I saw -9 and I saw +5, +6. Yeah, +6 or +6 and something, yeah. And actually it doesn't matter. You can go whatever value you want to the left and to the right, but nothing really much would give a nice look. Const new rotation. And what we want to do is we'll use the math random function. So math random returns, let's see, math random, yes. It returns something that is gonna be between 0 and 1, but not 1. Yeah, to 0 to less than 1, yeah? So this is what we actually need. So math random. So we would want this value of rotation to be -7 and 7. I chose this one, so we will multiply by 7. But now what we're gonna get is we'll get only the positive values. So we need a way to get the negative values. So this will be to multiply this number by something. So math random by math random. This will give us 0 or 1. So, math round actually, yeah? Sorry, not random, round. So if we get something smaller than 0.5, we'll get a 0 from here. And if we get something bigger than 0.5, we'll get 1. So this value will always return us 0 or 1. So we're gonna check if it's 0 or 1, so this is truthy or false. So if it's truthy, we get the 1, otherwise we get the minus. So what this line is gonna do is we have a random number that we're gonna multiply by 7. So for example, 0.5, we'll multiply by 7, which is 3.5, yeah? And then we multiply by this value, which is a -1 or 1. So this way we get the minus positive and plus positive value every time we call this function randomly, actually. So let's see, const temp state rotation rotation position from the state, yeah. So temp state item index equal to new rotation. So we set a new rotation for the element from that state. So, and then we set the set rotation to be temp state and set active index to be item index. Let's save. Yeah, so we see something's kind of working. Yeah, look at the channel, huh? Chanel. look at the channel, and it has different rotations. If we, let's go and see it here. So we have, when we hover, we have the scale and the rotation. It is weird we don't get positive values. Oh, here should be a function. Yeah, so now we should get negative and then positive. Cool. So the main functionality, it's working. And now what we gotta do is do the styling part. So let's go in our home CSS here, and let's do a couple of things. So for a main container, we'll set a padding of 0 and 6.59 viewport width. You'll see me use these values in percentages and in viewports, and that's because we want to do this one responsive. So viewport width, we'll set this at the index to something like 99. Yeah, we have something here. And then for the let's go and set up the image container, and all of the images will be fixed. So we want them to be there in the middle always. We'll display them flex, and then we'll justify the content center, and then we'll align the item center. We also want to get the minus margin, so minus 6.97 viewport width again. A height to have 100%, 100 viewports height, yeah. And for the width to be 100%. Then we have the Z index of -1 and the top to be 0. Yeah, so we got something. And then for the images, let's make them position absolute. Height 60 viewports height, with auto, transition transform 0.1 sec easy in out, a filter, let's make them gray for a more dramatic look, a Z index 98, and the box shadow, I actually have this one here, it was hard to remember, so yeah, up to, yeah, and when it's active, we'll set the Z index to be 99. Let's refresh. Yeah, so we have the images stacked, and you already can see we got this nice effect. Let's go now and style the titles. So for the title container, we have position relative, display block, padding top, the 37.77 viewport height, padding bottom, then viewport height, and for the H1s we'll have the display block, font size, then viewport width, line height 1.25, a color of 2D, it's a hex, a transition color of 0.1 sec easy in out, and when we hover on the title container, hover, we get the H1. We change the color BA. That's, yeah, we got something. We also need to have, when we hover on the title, we change the color. So title item, cursor, let's set the pointer, and when we hover on it, we have an H1. We take the color and we set it to 2D. Yeah, so the text is black. We hover, it's gray, and then when we hover individual, it's turning black as back. So this is how we kind of did it. Yeah, we have the images rotating each time we hover with a different angle. We have the titles here. And what we're gonna do next is to add a header and make this responsive. So header, and here we'll create an index.jsx, a style.css. For the index, let's RFC, let's replace with header, and here we'll return a new L. Well, then we will generate d times 4. Yeah, and here we have home, work, travel, menu, and let's name this header. And here we'll, for a home, we don't need nothing. For the class name here, for the work, we'll set active and the hide XS. We won't gonna need it for smaller devices. Class name hide text, and we're gonna import it in our home container here on top. Home header, actually. For the style, we have the header, we have position fixed, we have the top to be 0, we have display to be flex, we have the width to be 100%, justify content center, let's give it something space, box sizing, border box, font size 2 text transform uppercase, a Lee here, margin left 5%, and for the, where is the end, first of type we set to margin left 0. When it's active we set it to be text decoration underline. Kind of it. Let's import the style here. Import style. Let's refresh. Yeah, so we have this work, but one thing is that when we go, for example, on an iPhone X, the menu doesn't fit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hide the work and travel here, and then we make the font size a little bit smaller. That's why we have these classes. And for this, I'm gonna use a mixin from CSS. What it does, it's gonna add some media queries to the content that this mixin wraps. In other words, we pass the width, which is gonna be a string here, yeah, and we have the breakpoints, and then it'll just create a media query. So here we're gonna include mixin media query from set the tablet and max. And for that we need to have 30 pixels viewport width, justify content space between, font size 1.4 m, hide XS, display none, and let's import that media queries like this. Yeah, let's refresh. Yeah, so go once, yeah. So we see that when we hit that table point 168, yeah, we have here a breakpoint where we change the layout of the title. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I really enjoyed creating this effect. Thank you for to We Are Digital Freelancer for having this amazing website where I can inspire and make you guys videos, and hopefully you can be inspired. And I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, press that ring button, and see you to the next one. Peace.